This banana was grown, processed, and shipped by a company known as Chiquita. As of right now, Chiquita is the largest banana company in the world, accounting for 13% of all bananas consumed. But about 70 years ago, Chiquita, known as the United Fruit Company at the time, was even larger than now, producing and exporting 90% of all bananas in the world. But this company's influence stretches much farther than just a banana. The United Fruit Company's story is one of predatory tactics, geopolitical war, and American imperialism. Its story explains how companies can grow so big that they begin to establish themselves as a totalitarian regime. The United Fruit Company established authority over diverse frontiers to maximize profits at the expense of millions of people.
The first banana, the Musa banksai, originated from Papua New Guinea, but around 200 years ago, in 1835, a French botanist named Jean-François Poyat discovered a banana known as the Gros Michel, and began growing it in Jamaica to diversify its production of the fruit.
The sailor introduced this banana to the public at the 1876 World Fair, an exposition where people show off the newest technology. Following the introduction of the banana at the World Fair, the fruit gained widespread popularity over the course of a few years. During the 1880s and 1890s, two businessmen started importing bananas and branded their business as the Boston Fruit Company, which would later become the United Fruit Company. The company was so successful that the port of New York City was dubbed Banana Docks for a while due to the volume of fruit imports.
The Boston Fruit Company and a few other banana companies knew that they needed to become more efficient to meet demands and increase profit margins. But instead of just importing more bananas from other countries in Central and South America, banana companies wanted to control the supply chain. Bananas spoil in less than a week, and companies realized if the bananas arrived to the customer with damage, the bananas would not sell. If they wanted the bananas to make profit and get to the buyer safe, they would have to produce and ship bananas at a large scale. Around this time, the US was cutting a canal through Central America, the Panama Canal, and banana companies realized that it would help increase the speed of transporting bananas. The Boston Fruit Company eventually merged with other banana companies and became the United Fruit Company. This allowed the United Fruit Company to control the supply chain of bananas, and they turned their attention to Central America, where bananas could grow abundantly while being close to the Panama Canal.
The United Fruit Company bought up a bunch of land in Central America and the Caribbean, and established their influence over these countries by employing millions of people. Furthermore, they controlled where their workers would live, as well as the stores they shopped in and what they could buy. This helped the company grow extremely fast, building railways to quickly ship their bananas to ports, and buying up boats and waterways to get their bananas from Central America to the US before they spoiled. This could be best seen in Guatemala, where the United Fruit Company's investments quickly made them the largest company in the country. They owned a fifth of all farmable land, as well as railways, radio stations, a private navy, and radio infrastructure. By 1901, the government of Guatemala handed over control of the country's postal service to the United Fruit Company. At this point, the United Fruit Company's control over workers and infrastructure made it more similar to that of a country than a business. But of course, they were a company, and that meant that United Fruit could do whatever they wanted without repercussions.
The United Fruit Company paid workers with vouchers only redeemable at their stores. Their widespread influence in Central America earned them the nickname El Pulpo, or octopus in Spanish, due to their control over land, crops, people, and government agencies. When Honduras tried to reclaim their land in 1911, the United Fruit Company organized a private army to overthrow the government and replace the president with Manuel Bonilla, who provided tax deductions to banana companies. This is where the term Banana Republic comes from, a politically unstable country with an economy that depends on the export of natural resources such as bananas. The banana companies would use bribes to keep their strategies quiet, which continued due to U.S. military protection of American business interests. Eventually, this led to 7 U.S. invasions in Honduras alone, but the situation worsened in the 1920s.
In Colombia, a bunch of workers for the United Fruit Company decided to go on strike for better working conditions. They had 9 requests. They were reasonable expectations, working for 6 days instead of 7, payment with real money, and a general improvement of living conditions. However, instead of negotiation, the United Fruit Company persuaded the US to help them deal with the strike, and the US threatened to invade Colombia with their Marines and end the strike if the Colombian military didn't act on it first. Obviously, Colombia wanted to avoid political conflict with the most powerful country in the world, so they sent their own troops to go put down the strike, and the Colombian military were ordered in a telegram from the Bogota embassy to the US Secretary of State, quote, not to spare ammunition. So, after issuing a 5-minute warning asking people to leave, on December 5th, 1928, the Colombian army opened fire. Estimates for the number of casualties ranged from 47 to 2,000 people. All the while, the influence of the United Fruit Company continued to grow. At one point in the 1950s, United Fruit owned 42% of Guatemala's land. However, a new president was elected who wanted to take back United Fruit's land and redistribute it among the people. But United Fruit couldn't just ask the US government to stage another coup and arouse suspicions of possible corruption. Instead, they hired a PR manager to fabricate stories that linked the president of Guatemala to communism. These fake newspapers were then distributed to Congress to push the narrative that Arbenz, the president, was a communist. The United States believed this and sent the CIA to recruit rebels to overthrow Arbenz. They began spreading anti-government propaganda and succeeded in turning Guatemalans against their government. The US then deployed their navy to block Guatemalan waters and bomb Guatemala City. This invasion easily overpowers the Guatemalan army, and Arbenz is replaced with another president that is more friendly with the US and United Fruit. But there would be another problem that couldn't be fixed by political manipulation.
The issue with the United Fruit Company's rapid growth was that they only grew one type of banana. Bananas have no seeds, so they have to propagate offshoots from banana trees to grow new bananas. Since all bananas come from the same type of banana tree, there's no genetic variation, and since they're all grown right next to each other, the plants become very vulnerable to diseases. A fungus known as the Panama disease quickly took over banana plantations and completely annihilated crops, causing a decline of production. Banana companies had to find a substitute to replace the banana, and they landed on this banana variant, the Cavendish. The Cavendish was similar to the Gros Michel, but banana companies worried that customers would not buy a different type of banana. But with the Gros Michel nearing extinction, banana companies had to switch, but fortunately, customers didn't notice a difference.
The switch from the Gros Michel to the Cavendish marked the end of an era for the United Fruit Company. United Fruit would eventually rebrand to Chiquita, and since then has lost most of its market share. While they're still a leading banana company, they do not hold the same level of power as they did before, but even still, their effects can be seen today. According to the United Nations, quote, "Bananas are the fourth most important crop in the world, after wheat, rice, and maize, likely as a result of United Fruit's various marketing campaigns that brought the banana to the mainstream." And even decades after Guatemala and other Central and South American countries reclaimed their land from United Fruit, many countries are yet to recover from their afflictions, with Guatemala just beginning to emerge from a 36-year civil war caused by the United Fruit's interference with government affairs. United Fruit's story serves as a common archetype seen amongst many countries and corporations when they encounter new frontiers. As a result of the discovery of diverse frontiers, countries and companies are incentivized to go at any lengths to generate profits, whether it's banana massacres in Colombia or a coup in Honduras.